This is the first lecture in the series of polynomials, and this is meant for grade 8. We will continuously give you higher and higher topics in polynomials for higher classes, but for now this is for grade 8. The best way to introduce polynomials is to take an example, this number 63754 or any number, integers whatsoever. You can expand this in Indian decimal system. The decimal system was invented by India, and there is a place value. The 6 stands for 6 into 10,000. The 3 stands for 3 into 1000. 7 stands for 7 into 100. 5 stands for 5 into 10. And 4 stands for 4 into 1. Or in other words, we can write 10,000 as 10 to the power 4. That is, 4 tens are multiplied together. 1000 as 10 to the power 3. 3 tens are multiplied together, and so on. And you write 1 as 10 to the power 0. 10 to the power 0 is 1, yes. For any non-zero number x to the power 0 is 1. Let us revisit the laws of indices. You know, a square into aq is equal to a square is a into a, aq is a into a into a. So in all, we have a into a into a into a into a, that is 5a's, that is a to the power 5. And you can write it a to the power 2 plus 3. That means when you multiply with the common base a, the indices just add up. So a to the power 2 into a to the power 3, you can write a to the power 2 plus 3. Similarly, when you divide, suppose a to the power 4 divided by a to the power 3, so there are 4 a's in the numerator and 3 a's in the denominator. That is equal to a, that is a to the power 1, that means only 1 a, and that 1 can be written as 4 minus 3. That means a to the power 4 divided by a to the power 3 is a to the power 4 minus 3. So a to the power 0 can be written as a to the power 3 minus 3. So that is a to the power 3 by a to the power 3 is 1. Also you can write a to the power minus 1 is a to the power 3 minus 4. That is a to the power 3 by a to the power 4 is equal to 1 by a. Next, just note the other law of indices, that is a to the power 4 whole to the power 3. You can write it as a to the power 4 into a to the power 4 into a to the power 4 three times because of this index in the outer. And as per law of addition of indices, this is a to the power 4 plus 4 plus 4. That means a to the power 4 into 3. That is a to the power 4 whole to the power 3 is equal to a to the power 4 into 3. Now come to that expression 63,754, and this expanded form 6 into 10 to the power 4 plus 3 into 10 to the power 3, etc. This can be called a polynomial in base 10. Our number system in India or in world right now is called the decimal system because we have 10 digits starting from 0 to 9. To express any number, however big, we can express this, and this is possible because of the old Indian gurus. Just like, for example, Aryabhatta, Bhaskar 1, Bhaskar 2, and Nilakantha, Madhav, Lilavati, and others, so many of them. Aryabhatta is credited to have recognized 0 as a number. Uh, uh, that is a name for nothing or a symbol for nothing, so that we could assign a place value to any number. Because we accepted 0 as a number for nothing as such, and it had a double meaning. A place value, the 0 uh, in 10 and 0 in 100, two zeros in 100, they have different place values. Because of this 0 only, our place value system was revived, such as 3 in 345 stands for 300, whereas 3 in 1436 stands for 30 only. Maybe this system was used much before these Indian gurus from prehistoric time, as it should be. We expect that without that nothing can be done. So we do not know for certain whether before those gurus this was in force or not, because we can look as far as history can, and beyond history there is only folklore or ancient scriptures like the Vedas, the Puranas and Upanishads, and in the dim cosmic background of the colossus of human knowledge, that is the domain of archaeology. So, lost civilizations are rediscovered by archaeology, and of course, time travel is one of the options. You can go back in time, kill your grandfather, and come back. And anything uh, as reasonable or as we are ready to accept. Next, return to our polynomial equation. 63,754 is equal to 6 into 10 to the power 4 plus 3 into 10 to the power 3, etc. And take another number 375, that is 3 into 10 to the power 2 plus 7 into 10 to the power 1 plus 5 into 10 to the power 0. So these are the two polynomials A and B. We can add, subtract, multiply, divide and extract square root. In fact, perform all arithmetic operations on these numbers as we did in lower classes um, easily with the help of place value decimal system of ours. Just to exhibit, let us add these two: 63,754 plus 375, write it down unit place below the unit place, tenth place below the tenth place, like that. And there is carryover process. You add 4 into 5, 4 plus 5, that is 9 right here. Then 5 plus 7 is 12, because this place cannot contain more than 9. So from 12 you keep 2 here and carry over 1 to be added here. So 7 plus 1 is 8 plus 3 11. Again 11 cannot be kept here. So keep 1 and carry over 1. So 3 plus 1 is 4, then 6 is 6. So this is the addition everybody knows. So in terms of polynomials, this 63,754 plus 375, do like this: expand this 63,754 in the powers of 10 and expand this 375 in the powers of 10. Then you collect the similar powers. Here is only 6 into 10 to the power 4, then 3 into 10 to the power 3, then in the square, 10 square category, there is 7 here and 3 here. So 7 plus 3 you write side by side, and the next step it will be 10. Uh, Let us go to the next board. So we have added the two polynomials 7 plus 3, 5 plus 7, 4 plus 5, keeping them as such. And we have written this 7 plus 3 is 10, 5 plus 7 is 12, and 4 plus 5 is 9. Mark here that we have not performed the carryover process. We have left the carryover process. This is because we want to generalize. In place of 10, you take x, any number x, maybe an integer or may not be, and you can write a polynomial. Sx is this our number one polynomial, Just in place of 10 you write x. So 6x4 plus 3x cube plus 7x square, etc. And we have written x to the power 0 is 1. And you write tx is 3s square plus 7x plus 5 and call it b. So you can write easily sx plus tx is again another polynomial, that is 6x to the power 4 plus 3x to the power 3 plus 10s square. You see here s square here is 7 and s square here is 3, so 10. Then 12x, there is a 5x here and 7x, so 12x plus 9. Next board. Now it is clear why we have sacrificed this carryover system. Uh, we can carry over in decimal system, but if we want to generalize in terms of x, that's a general polynomial in x. So carryover will not be of much use here. We cannot carry over here. Suppose 6 into x to the power 4, this term only. Um, if a polynomial is going to have this term only and no other term, we call it mononomial or monomial. And this 6 is called coefficient of x to the power 4. The 3 is called coefficient of x to the power 3. So you understand what is a polynomial. The degree of polynomial is the highest degree of the variable or variables if x and y are there. So highest degree is 4. The degree of polynomial here is 4. Uh, so if there is only one term, this 6 x to the power 4 we call a monomial. And if there are two terms, suppose 7x plus 5 in some polynomial, we call it a binomial like that. One thing we must specially note that the polynomial of degree n cannot be infinite. Take an example. Consider fx some function of x is x minus s cubed by 1 into 2 into 3 plus x fifth by 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 minus x7 by 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 into 7 dot 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 up to infinity. Actually, this fx is a finite number for any x. Even then, there are infinite number of terms. This is actually stands for sin x. You will know after one or two grades. But the question is, can we call it a polynomial? Because it is a power series like this, we cannot call it a polynomial because there are infinite number of terms. So you understand what is a polynomial, and a polynomial must consist of a finite number of terms. Next board. Considering addition of two polynomials, which is again a polynomial, we may consider subtraction of two polynomials, and rather it is superfluous to discuss that because it is in the same lines addition. Just as we subtract two numbers, we subtract two polynomials, just as we have added. Now take an example of multiplication. Our sx and tx you multiply, and this will you will see that again it will be a polynomial px. So you have to multiply them, multiply term by term. Each term of sx, that 6x to the power 4, will be multiplied to 3x square. So it becomes 18x to the power 6. In that way, just as you multiply the numbers, putting one number below another, so in this way you multiply, and there are how many terms? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 number of terms. But after that you do another step. You collect the terms of same power. For example, the power 6 and power 5, there are no more powers. This x to the power 4, and one term is 30x to the power 4, and there is another term 21x to the power 4, and another term 30x to the power 4. So this is 81x to the power 4. And x to the power 5 also there are two terms, 42x to the power 5 and 9x to the power 5. That becomes 51x to the power 5. So you collect all these terms of similar power and then give a final expression, and you see that this is also again a polynomial. The degree of this polynomial is sum of the degrees of these two polynomials. The Sx was of degree 4 and Tx was of degree 2. So Px, that is Sx into Tx, will be of degree 6. That is evident here. And whether this there is a very good software available online, whether this calculation is correct or not, you can check with, you can just copy this and paste it on their proforma, that is called algebra solver or math papa. You can use that. So we understand why you have sacrificed this carryover process, because in terms of x or in terms of generalization, there is no meaning of this carryover process. Rather than we add that term by terms of similar powers, and whatever that coefficient may be, we keep that coefficient. And last note is that the about the first term of the product and the last term of the product. The first term of the product of Sx and Tx will be the first term of the product Tx, Px, that is 6x4 into 3s square. Similarly, the last term of the polynomials Sx and Tx will be multiplied to give the last term of the product Px, that is 9x into 5. Next. Now we will discuss what is Euclid's division algorithm, what is the remainder theorem, what is factor theorem. These were studied in lower classes with relation to numbers. Now we will study those things again with relation to polynomials. So let us divide a number p from the number side. Take the example. Let us take a number p and divide it by another number d, and let q be the quotient and r be the remainder. Remainder means that is left over, which is not further we are not able to divide. So naturally, this remainder must be less than the divisor. R must be less than D, so that we cannot divide any further, we cannot subtract any further. And for division, this divisor must be less than dividend. You can divide 20 by 5, but we are not allowed to divide 5 by 20 because of fear of fractions. So when there are fractions, there is no question of remainder or anything. So Euclid's algorithm is only true for integers. Now, two things we mark, that this divisor must be less than the dividend p, and the remainder must be less than the divisor d. And the same thing, the same concept can be extended to polynomials. This is division algorithm for polynomials, but in this case, we don't insist upon the values, but we insist upon the degrees. Suppose we divide a polynomial px by dx. Px is called the dividend, dx is called the divisor, and the quotient is qx, and rx is the remainder or leftover. Here, because x is an unknown, we cannot know which is smaller or which is larger. But one thing for certain, the degree of px must be greater than degree of dx. The dividend degree of the dividend must be greater than the dividend of the divisor, and the degree of remainder must be less than the degree of divisor. And let us take a particular example. Suppose fx is qx into x minus r plus r. Suppose fx is a polynomial, we divide it by x minus r. X minus r is a linear polynomial or a polynomial of degree 1. So let us suppose that qx is the quotient and r is the remainder. Why r is the remainder? R must be a constant because the degree of r must be degree less than degree of x minus r. The degree of x minus r is 1, so r must be less than that, it is constant. And therefore, this r is a polynomial which is a constant of degree 0. Now you understand that they call any constant as a polynomial of degree 0 only. They understand very well. Another example, suppose fx is a polynomial, we have to divide it by x minus r, and the process is long division. That long division, you carried out that process for numbers. It is similar. Suppose this fx is as square plus bx plus c, and that divided by x minus r. So what you do is, from as square you subtract arx and add arx. Now you take ax from these two terms common. So ax taken common remains x minus r, and you take common x here. So ar plus b here. Now this first term you divide by x minus r, it only remains ax, and for the second term you add another term, you subtract another term minus r b plus ar, and then add again r into b plus ar. So minus r b plus ar and r b plus ar. So this becomes x minus r into b plus ar. So this first term you divide by x minus r, it remains b plus ar. Now the these terms are b plus ar plus c, they don't contain x. So they are constant, so polynomial of degree 0, they cannot further be divided. So that is the remainder. And simplify this, what you will get is ar square plus br plus c, and that will be the remainder. The quotient will be ax plus b plus ar. And what is ar square plus br plus c? Ar square plus br plus c is nothing but as square plus bx plus c itself when x is replaced by r. So this is the remainder value is nothing but this is fr. That means when fx is when x in fx is replaced by r, the remainder becomes fr. This is the case when any polynomial is divided by x minus r, or a linear polynomial. It may be a quadratic function or it may be any function, and this is called remainder theorem. This is called remainder theorem for polynomials. That means you divide any polynomial by x minus r, the remainder will be fr. If you divide fx by that means x will be replaced by r. So in that way, long division is also not necessary to calculate the remainder, because we are least concerned about this ax plus b plus ar. If we are considering only the remainder, just replace x by r and you get the remainder. Quotient is not required. Next, having understood what is the remainder theorem, Euclid's remainder theorem for polynomials, we still proceed to a special case when the remainder fr is equal to 0. Uh, when the remainder was 0, we said in the calculation of numbers that x minus r divides fx. So x minus r is a factor of fx. Why? Because fx becomes qx into x minus r and remainder is 0. And you call this as factor theorem, and you understand that this factor theorem is a special case of remainder theorem when the remainder is 0. Next. So you have now understood that the remainder theorem is a particular case of the division algorithm, and the factor theorem is still a particular case of remainder theorem. Last but not the least, the final question is, suppose you multiply two linear factors ax plus b and cx plus d, you will get a quadratic factor acs square plus ac plus bdx plus bd. You multiply another linear factor, you will get a cubic expression. So you multiply n linear factors, you will get a polynomial of degree n. Uh, or you say you multiply a linear factor and a factor of fourth degree, you must get a polynomial of fifth degree. But the reverse question is, suppose you take any polynomial, say second degree polynomial like this ps square plus qx plus r, or any polynomial of any degree, and you write p, q and r in as per your sweet will. Whatever you use, you write p and q and r. And is there any guarantee that this px square plus qx plus r has some linear factors? This is a great question asked for centuries. Lastly, uh, it was solved in 17th century by Carl Friedrich Gauss, that you write p, q, r, whatever numbers you wish, and this px square plus qx plus r will have two factors. There will be two linear factors which when multiplied will get ps square plus qx plus r. So he was a towering genius. He proved this in 22 years of age. Again he made some improvements and proved it again at 44. Then again he made some improvements in another method. He proved it in at the age of 82. So this is that much important. Immediately we cannot understand the proofs by fundamental proofs by Gauss of the proof of the theorem, fundamental theorem of algebra. It tells that any polynomial has a root, and in fact in the next lecture we will show that a polynomial of degree n If it has one root, it must have n roots, and then will show that it will not contain more than n roots. If it contains more than n roots, then it will be the zero polynomial. Thank you.